Urbanization refers to the population shift from rural to urban areas, and today 55% of the world's population live in cities, with the percentage expected to rise to 68% by 2050. This urban expansion therefore leads to noise pollution being a critical concern, as it's linked to a range of health problems such as poor concentration and heart failure. Therefore, it's extremely important to understand more about noise exposure and propagation in order to form better decisions when carrying out action plans to reduce noise pollution. This project is a social data science project where it aims to understand noise using a step-by-step incremental approach, and here is the project timeline for our project. Noise capture is the application that is used for the gathering of noise data. Noise capture measures sound along a path, and this data is then shared with the community through their website. This means that we are able to gain access to data that is contributed by other users from around the world. These are a few screenshots of the noise capture application. Exploratory analysis was carried out on the noise capture dataset. The following few slides shows the spatial distribution, noise level distribution, and time distribution of the noise data points. With the images that are presented to you, here are some takeaways and limitations that were concluded. In summary, relying on just data obtained by the noise capture website limits us in terms of the quality of data and the quantity of data. One component to highlight is that data obtained from the noise capture website does not have frequency data that noise capture does record. Frequency data is useful when it comes to determining the potential sources of noise from a particular noise recording, as different noise sources have different frequencies. To tackle these limitations, we carried out noise collection efforts, and this helps us to increase the number of noise data points by 4.5 times. By comparing the two images here, we can also see that not only does the number of noise data points increase, the points are also more evenly distributed as well. Obtaining frequency data is more tricky, as it requires volunteers to share their data manually to a Gmail account that we had set up. With hundreds of email submissions, data automation is therefore created to compile the emails efficiently. Below shows the data pipeline. As data from many different participants were compiled, it's important to have an efficient way of viewing the gist of the overall contents of either a specific participant or all participants at one glance. The summary report is based on what the collator thinks is necessary. In our case, our noise collection efforts were strategized to encompass areas with fewer noise recordings, and our volunteers were also paid according to the length of their recordings. Therefore, the summary report focuses on these two areas. There's currently not much study present at the moment that focuses on noise level in the campus environment from the perspective of students, so we took this opportunity to study it. Using crowdsourcing by volunteers, the noise across the campus from the perspective of students was able to be mapped. By comparing the noise level of the two graphs, we are able to view the areas that are frequented by students. As mentioned, frequency is useful in determining the source of the noise. Different sources of noise operates in different frequencies. For example, background noise operates at a much lower frequency compared to human voice. In this analysis, we look at two groups. Group A, which is based on noise data collected when there is low Wi-Fi connections, and vice versa for Group B. The graph shows a comparison between LEQ 200, which is the average frequency of background noise, LEQ 2500, which is the average frequency of human voice, and LEQ mean, which is the average frequency of the respective group. For Group A, there's a high correlation with background noise, and for Group B, there's a high correlation with human voice instead. Hence, we can see that there seems to be a strong correlation between Wi-Fi and sound frequency. Outside campus, road noise contributes a significant large part in noise pollution, and a potential solution will be using trees as noise barriers. Noise propagation modeling using the noise modeling tool by Noise Planet can be used to study noise propagation flows. Relevant noise structures such as roads and trees were then inputted. Therefore, an important component will be identifying the location of trees. Several studies have looked at the mapping of trees using aerial imaging through drones. However, this approach is limited by Singapore's strict zone laws. Street view mapping was explored instead, as aerial mapping is unviable. Therefore, the tree locating methods were explored. The first method uses data scraping to obtain tree location data from tree.xtree, which is an online portal developed by NParks with the support of GovTech. The second and third approach uses Street View imaging. They are relatively the same, with the difference being the Street View image source. The second method obtains the image from Google Street View API, whereas the third method obtains the image from Mapillary API. Here's the pipeline of the second method. The input will always be a route map of the region of interest. In this example, it's the Clementi area. Point sampling is then done on this route map, and the distance between these points was set to be 10 meters. Afterwards, we proceed to step 2, where we obtain images based on the coordinate of a point, and we do that for all the points that were previously sampled in step 1. We then pass the images to calculate the green view index. The green view index calculates the amount of greenery in a picture, and if it passes a certain threshold, we determine that there is tree at that specific point. By carrying out these steps, we produce a final shapefile output of the tree locations. However, method 2 is limited by its cost. For Singapore's case, it will cost around 2,000 USD to map the roadside trees in Singapore, and mapping will be more expensive for larger countries. A solution for this will be using Mapillary API, where image data is crowdsourced, hence free. However, the limitation will be that it may be limited in the number of viewing sites, and the image will not be as clear as the images provided by Google Maps, and hence the tree location mapping may be less accurate because of that. Using the tree location data, noise propagation modeling can then be carried out in the future to understand more about noise propagation flows. This is the end of the presentation, and thank you so much for listening.